we're better than other people. We don't go to those people's house. We're better than them. And how does the kid grow up to think? I'm better than you. I'm better than you. I'm higher than you. I'm better than you. And she says, garbage. Total garbage. Now in 1350, today, as we study this in America, as you know, in a democracy, obviously we go, well, yeah, no, duh. Just because somebody, for example, has a certain kind of skin color, or somebody has money, doesn't make them somehow better than other people. We know that today, not in 1400. In 1400 England, this was a radical idea that people would think of each other as equal just because they're human beings. Way wrong answer. Way wrong answer. And here you have this attack on this idea. Let's keep going. But everyone knows, line 280. But everyone knows this as well as I, for if gentility were implanted by the natural course of lineage down the line, public or private, could it cease to shine in doing the fair work of gentle deed? No vice or villainy could then bear seed. In other words, she says, if you could become a gentleman simply by being born to a really good family, you would have never hurt that girl at the beginning of our story, as she says to her. Now that's interesting. Why did the knight at the beginning of the story feel that he could rape that girl? 3 answers. 1, she was alone. 2, she was a woman and she was alone. 3, she was a nobody. She was a commoner. And he was a knight. Therefore, he felt he was better than her and he could treat her badly. Notice that this old woman is lecturing this kid and saying, shame on you. You have no idea how stupid and foolish you look right now thinking you're better than somebody else simply because you're a knight? Are you kidding me? If you really were a true knight, she says, you would be nice to me, even if I don't have a real high position. Take fire. And this is interesting, 285. Take fire and carry it to the darkest house between this kingdom and the Caucasus, and shut the doors on it and leave it there, and it will burn on. And it will burn as fair as if 10,000 men were there to see. For fire will keep its nature and degree, I can assure you, sir, until it dies. But gentleness, as you will recognize, is not annexed in nature to possessions. Men fail in living up to their professions, but fire never ceases to be fire. God knows you'll often find, if you inquire, some lording full of villainy and shame. If you would be esteemed for the mere name of having been by birth a gentleman, and steaming from some virtuous noble clan, and do not live yourself by gentle deed, or take your father's noble code and creed, you are no gentleman, though duke or earl. Vice and bad manners are what make a churl. Whoa! In other words, you are the way you act. You are the way you act. And it does not matter how much money you have. And it does not matter that your parents maybe are big shots. If you are not a nice person, it does not matter. You're a failure, she says to him. You're a failure. You're not a knight. Look at you. You're a nobody because you don't know how to treat people right. You're a bully. You're a bully. That's what she's saying to him. You are a bully, and you've always been a bully. Because you think you can get away with it. And you know why you think you can get away with it? Because you always have. That's why. Because you always have. And she says, but you're not real. You're not real. You are totally fake, she says to him. You are totally fake. Gentility, I'm on page 147. Gentility is only the renown for bounty that our fathers handed down. Quite foreign to your person, not your own. Gentility must come from God alone. That we are gentle comes to us by grace, top of page 148. And by no means is it bequeathed with place. In other words, let's write this down. You're not a nice person just because somebody who raised you was a nice person. That is to say, where you come from has something to do with who you are, but you got to choose to be a nice person. You got to choose to not be, for example, mean or a bully or whatever. Reflect how noble, says Verilius, was Telius, surnamed Hostilius, who rose from poverty to nobleness and read Boethius, Seneca no less. Thus they express themselves and are agreed. Gentle is he that does a gentle deed. Let's write that down. This is powerful stuff. Gentle is he that does a gentle deed. Two kinds of people. People who try and always start fights. People who are always trying to create negative energy. And she says to him, if you're that kind of person, you choose to be that kind of person. So she says to him, stop it. Stop it. Don't be mean. Don't be cruel. Just because I wasn't born into the right family. You can imagine, she's been talking for a while here. You can imagine that he's kind of doing one of these numbers like, okay, crap. So, sorry I was a bully to you, you know. And she's not even halfway done. I mean, look, you can see, we got more lines to go here. In other words, Chaucer is lining up the large softball bat, and he's going to swing it right into the face of his readers. And he's going to say, you think you're somebody because you can be mean and get away with it. You ain't somebody. You're nobody. You're empty. You're empty inside and you know it, which is why you act the way you do. That's what she's saying to this knight. You act this way because you are empty inside, which is why you treated that girl at the beginning of the story so mean. That's why. Notice the genius of Chaucer. He has the wife of Bath preaching to this young kid. But of course, readers of this are going to go, this old lady's talking directly to me. Wow, let's keep going. Gentle is he that does a gentle deed, line 317. And therefore, my dear husband, I conclude, that even if my ancestors were rude, yet God on high, and so I hope he will, can grant me grace to live in virtue still. A gentle woman only when beginning to live in virtue and to shrink from sinning. So she finishes the first attack. The first attack is on this notion of nobility, and she says, no. You're not somebody just because you came from some place where there was family money or family power. She said, that's ridiculous. That's complete asinine. As for my poverty, let's go to the next one. This is now about the issues of money, right? The issues of money and poverty, okay? In other words, let's write it down. This is the idea that some people think they're better than other people because they have money. Because they have money. Let's take a look at this one. As for my poverty, which you reprove, Almighty God himself, in whom we move, believe, and have our being, chose a life of poverty. And every man or wife, nay, every child can see our heavenly King would never stoop to choose a shameful thing. No shame in poverty if the heart is gay. As Seneca and all the learned say, he who accepts his poverty unhurt, I'd say, is rich, although he lacked a shirt. But truly poor are they who whine and fret and covet what they cannot hope to get. And he that having nothing covets not is rich, though we may think he is a sot. Let's write it down. This is amazing stuff. She says, let's talk about money for a second. Just because you have money, just because you can buy, for example, nicer clothes than other people, and you can wear those clothes, and you can, for example, look really good in those clothes, that doesn't make you somehow a better person than other people. And it certainly doesn't give you a right to treat people who don't have money as somehow lesser, beneath you in some way. Whoa. True poverty, she says, can find a song to sing. Juvenal says a pleasant little thing. The poor can dance and sing in the relief of having nothing that will tempt a thief. Though it be hateful, poverty is good, a great incentive to a livelihood, and a great help to our capacity for wisdom, if accepted patiently. Poverty is, though wanting in estate, a kind of wealth, that none culminate. Poverty often, when the heart is lowly, brings one to God and teaches what is holy, gives knowledge of oneself, and even lends a glass by which to see one's truest friends. And since it's no offense, let me be plain, do not rebuke my poverty again. Wow, she makes a very interesting observation. Sometimes we are aware that people who have been raised around money will be often treated differently from people who were not raised around money. That is to say, she says, poverty is no reason to treat people badly. No reason. Lastly, now we go to the last of these critiques. Here we go. Lastly, you taxed me, sir, with being old. Okay, now let's write this one down. This is the attack on the geriatric. That is to say, age. That is to say, people who are young sometimes think they can talk to people who are old in some kind of bad way. We'll come back to that, to this address here in a second, all right? I need to see both.